Sooner Nation, Thunder Nation. We are back. This is the Just Okay Sports Podcast. I'm one of your village idiots, Daryl. I'm here with my brother Jared and the one and only Troy. We have not potted in forever because it's basketball season and Troy can't talk until the season's over because he's too much up in his feels. But it is official as of last night. OKC is the home of the 2025 NBA champions after a Game 7 win, with all kinds of different thoughts and drama throughout the series, but it's been good. Boys, how are we doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's
Jared,
that's a good high to come off of into your Monday.
Yeah, that's a great. You cannot have a case of the Mondays after that is your Sunday night.
Oh, you can still have a case of the Mondays, but
oh,
just a
I'm
little less.
100%. I'm not doing any work today. Like there's like very little work happening.
My boss is a big Sixers fan, like he's from Philly originally and all that. But he's been like cheering on the Thunder, and he messaged me like first thing like at 8 o'clock this morning. He was like, "Do you need the day off just to celebrate?" And I was like, no, I'll still work, but not a lot's gonna get done."
Although I got to stay home a little bit late this morning, taking my son in. We went and we ran to Dick's and got all of our gear this morning, that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, the Troy, I don't know if you saw the one for the city
Yeah,
shirt. It is
yeah.
now available again online as of like 30
I
minutes ago.
know, but here's my thing. I went as soon as we talked earlier this morning. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I took time. I was like, okay, kids in the car. We're going to Dick's, and we did, and that's why I got this. But I'm not spending $55 on that shirt.
Oh, I am. I am like it may never happen again. Don't care. Ordered it. Me and Evan both. We got it.
I
Now for the
love
kids,
it.
they got the 40s. Don't care. Like the kids got the 40s.
Yeah.
We
Still a
ordered.
$40 shirt. A
Oh, I'm
$40
taking them
shirt.
back. I'm taking the 40s back. It's getting that
Yeah.
back. But I was like, I want that. That one for the city, like that phrase will forever go down in the lore of Oklahoma City to have that shirt and with that phrase on there. Because this
Gosh.
is the first one. It's wild. Although I will say, and I don't know, but I'm just curious from you guys' perspective, just really quickly in the moment. The city is obviously rabid. That's yes. I'm trying to compare it to the 2000 OU championship though. And
Okay.
where because like I just remember things like I don't know why this sticks in my head, but I can still remember when they like won the Big 12 and they were going to the championship, all that stuff. Um, I can remember like the radio station playing, they had a spoof song on Who Let the Dogs Out, and they had changed it to Who Let the Sooners Out. And like every radio station was playing that for like a week leading into that Orange Bowl. Like it was insane. Like it was legitimately insane around the city. And it has been this week too, but little things like that, I don't feel like has happened as much. But it might be the social media change of everything too.
It's
You know
a
what I'm
that
saying?
it's a
Yeah, I was
huge
gonna say.
change
I
of
mean, you
that.
gotta think it's in 2000. It's like you got your memes, if you will, from the radio or TV. You didn't get it from the internet. I mean, like all over Twitter, I've seen all kinds of stuff, and so I think I think it has shifted a little bit. But I also think like Troy's probably gonna come at me for this. In the state of Oklahoma, football takes precedence over basketball.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm curious. Like, and here's the other side of it, Troy, and I think this might do it. OU had been bad, like real bad,
You're
for a
right. It was
long,
90s.
long time.
The
Yeah,
90s was our
right.
dark period.
And then we saw this glimmer of improvement that first year with Bob, right? Like where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this team. And then the other thing was we knew going into that season they had to play K-State, Texas, and Nebraska back to back to back. And I remember endless conversations of if you can win one of those three, it's a really successful season. If you win two of those three, it's a magical season. And then they won all three, and it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, like so the build, like whereas coming into this year, like we talked about it before the season went down, like this team is Western Conference Finals is like
But
that's like
I
a like that is
Let
they
me
but
have
let
to
me
get
ask you,
there.
let me
here's
ask you this.
go ahead. Sorry.
Daryl, how old were you when that happened. I was 18. What were you, 23, 22?
22. Yeah.
Okay. Jared, how old were you in 2000?
13.
13.
Okay. Okay. So we have three very different perspectives here
Yeah.
because I'll be honest with you, 23 and 18, I was so into sports starting at 10 years old to eight, that was 8 years, right? I'm
Oh,
sure you were probably around the same thing, Daryl.
yeah.
So you had 13 years. I'm sitting on 33 years of sports right now. So this title right now, for me personally, is hitting so much harder than the
Uh,
Sooners.
yeah.
Oh, so I think, but I think here's the difference is like a broader stroke because I don't disagree with you, Troy. But you also have to think of the aspect of the championship game of like the well, playoffs to compared to the Orange Bowl, right? Thunder came into the
That's a
playoffs
very
as an
different thing. Yes.
like well not overwhelming, but a very big favorite.
Oh, yeah.
The Sooners went to
Historic
the Orange
favorite.
Bowl. Sooners went to the Orange Bowl as somewhat of a dog. I mean, they were kind of an underdog. Like everybody thought Florida
Yeah,
State
the
was just
Heisman
gonna.
Trophy
Yeah,
winner.
they had the
Yeah,
Heisman
like
Trophy winner. Everybody thought they were going to win. So when you go in there and you basically dominate the game, it's that's where the comparison I think falls apart a little bit, just because OU is such an underdog. It was like the difference for me would be the Thunder, like, or the Sooners told like the Oklahoma story of being the underdog, like everybody's counting you out, you're not worth anything, and they come in and they win a championship. Where the Thunder came in and they were the number one seed. They had the best record. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
in
it's a little
that
bit
in
different
that
of a story.
regards, in that regards, yes. But if I paint it kind of like taking a page out of your book, Jared, a broad stroke with the Thunder team, not just for this year, but the last 3 to 5 years or
Hmm.
since the rebuild, that's an underdog story too. And if you look at it from that
Yeah.
perspective, not just the
Well,
one season, right? Like from the whole perspective, like trading
That
PG, trading Russ, all that having to completely restart.
And that's where
well,
like
and
pro and college is different, right? Like kind of what y'all are getting. There is a total underdog story to this Thunder team, but it's been building to such a way that people are talking highly of the Thunder, if you will. Whereas OU coming into that year, it was like, well, they might in a couple years get back. Like that was kind of more of the conversation. And then it was like, again, you win that first big game. I think it was K State was our first one, right? Or was Texas the first? Texas was the first win.
Texas
Then
is Texas,
K
K-State,
State, Nebraska was the last one. I
Nebraska.
know that.
Yes.
But you
It was
beat
like we won the
Texas.
first two, and they're like, now it's two big boys with Nebraska,
Yeah.
defending national
And so it
champion.
just like crescendoed so fast. And the season's just shorter. So I think the energy through that whole season just
well,
felt different in that
you
regard too.
I also think you have to look at it from a perspective of in 2000, one, you didn't have a pro team of any kind,
Right.
right?
It was OU
And
football.
Yeah.
it was basically OU football. They hadn't won a championship in forever. There'd been a drought of any sort of championship in Oklahoma, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then you win a national championship. Now it's like you do have the Thunder win a championship, but you had the softball team. I mean, they didn't win it this year, but they won it.
All right, I can't. I love
Well,
softball. I love
no.
softball,
But
but
what I'm saying
I
is
can't put it on the level of
No,
OU,
no, no, no.
the football or
well,
or the
what
NBA
I'm saying, Troy,
champions.
is I'm not trying to put it on the same level, but what I'm saying is
There
OU
was a
has
drought with
even
everything's what he's saying.
everything. Now
Oh,
there's been
okay. I see what you're
championships
saying.
that have
Okay,
come through, like
no.
we won six consecutive Big 12 titles, and like all that's in fairly recent past. Like
OSU won like golf titles and
there hasn't been
wrestling
the
titles,
same
stuff like
drought, is what
that.
I'm saying.
Jared, that's it right there. It's 2000. It was a dust bowl of sport. Like we had the Sooners, but like it had been so long since anything. Like baseball hadn't been good in forever. Like nothing had been good. Like nothing had been consistent. And now moving into this championship, there has been winning taking place on so many different levels. Like not
Yeah.
in the big dogs per se, but I do think that's different. But
Well,
I will say this, it is cool to see the whole, to be here and see the entire state is just all in on this though.
It
Like,
is
and that
incredible.
there is a
well,
difference
it's
in that.
and I think I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's been a while since we've done a pod. So, have y'all seen the documentary about the Oklahoma City bombing?
Oh yeah.
No, I need to watch it. I need to watch
Yeah.
it.
But to go back to my point too, it's like you have this Dust Bowl, like you said, of a complete drought of championships, and then you have like the bombing in the middle of that. Like the '90s was just horrible for the state of Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so then you have that. So that's why I think I'm not saying, Troy, that it's bigger. I'm just saying that I think that's why people's
Yeah.
reaction to the 2000 championship was bigger. But there's no way you can't spin this as not monumental for the Thunder.
Oh, definitely.
And so just to make the connection, and I want to go into personal experiences here in a second, but like what I just like texted you guys right before
Yeah.
we started,
Yeah. The
that
shirt
that
on the
tweet
seat. Yeah.
shirt on the dad's seat at the moment, that dude, that's
Oh,
making me choke up right now. Like
yeah.
that is incredible. And the reason from a personal level that this championship hits harder, I was still a pup. I wasn't married, didn't have a serious girlfriend at 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was at OU. It was incredible elation, right? And I'm 43 now, 25 years later, and my kids, I'm married 19 years. My three kids watched the thing with me
Yeah.
and stayed up. They knew exactly what was going on. And we all just we cried last night. Like we dogpiled everybody and we were crying and hugging and tears were flowing. Like it was just dude, like that's why this one hits so hard.
Yeah.
And you guys,
It's
and on top of it, I've been the NBA guy. Like I've been an NBA fan since I was like 8, 9, 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so this just hits. This hits pretty hard.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was an awesome night. I think everybody was still on pins and needles with being down one at half. So maybe like let's segue that way. Like let's just talk about the game for a second, just as a whole. Number one, throughout the playoffs, one thing has stood supreme. No one, no media member, nobody that came to OKC to watch these games is saying anything other than the best crowd, the best. Brian Windhorst, even this morning, was like, dude, you don't understand. He's like, that place when you come out to do warm ups is already lit and it is going hard and loud. Like, there is no quit the whole time. The fans just dominated the NBA. And that's not to take away from Indiana fans. I heard that they were fantastic as well. But I do think that the OKC won the edge from media members. I mean, I heard media members saying they were sneaking out of games early just to go find a quiet place to sit before they had to go do their press stuff afterwards because their ears were ringing so bad. Like just the energy in the room, just taking it out of them, trying to process in the midst of the noise that was in there, which was awesome.
yeah, I mean,
This is really good. Good.
it's you know, the game itself was the whole series. I mean, like you said, the fans were in it. I mean, I got to give credit, not to take away from the Thunder fans because they I think they were even louder from by all accounts. The Pacers fans were lit too. I think if anybody wants to take anything, like if you're a Pacers fan for some reason listening to this podcast, it's like, look, y'all showed up, y'all were a scrappy team. A lot of people counted you out too, made it all the way to the finals and took it to Game 7, and your fans were rabid. I mean, they were
Mm.
probably one of the few fan bases that I'd put even close to the same level that I would the Thunder fans. But the Thunder fans just it was there was even one point during the game where like I don't even remember what happened, but it was so loud you could tell the announcers were having to raise their voices so that you could hear them. Like it was just it was palpable how much energy was in that stadium.
Oh, 100. And shout out to the like Pacers fan. There was a lot of yellow on TV last night in that lower
There
Yeah.
bowl,
was. I
man.
noticed that. Yep.
Yeah.
I
There was
Yeah.
a
noticed that.
good amount of yellow. And
So if we're talking about the game, so like, what are we going to do? We're going to do the game, the playoffs, and this, or just the
what
series? What do we want to do
you
right
lead
now?
it, Troy, because you know it better. Like
Let's talk
you
about the
want to
game. Let's talk about the game. Okay. Anybody else like nervous going into it?
100% I was nervous.
Jared,
Oh
were you
yeah.
nervous? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, I didn't know if they were going to win because of the travesty that was Game 6. They just didn't show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was of all of the entire playoff run, 68 wins, right, for the
Mm.
season, historical defense. That was the moment I was like, "Oh, I thought you learned already
Yes.
about this." And that was the moment I was like, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like they had answered the call every single time throughout, but then after game 6 it made me so nervous going into it.
Yeah.
Um but you know what? Their defense showed up and I know people are going to say, "Hey, asterisks. Aaron Gordon got hurt. Jaw got hurt. You know, Hallie got hurt. You know, all these things in our playoff run. Whatever. I don't care. We got a championship the way we got a championship. You can't take that from us ever.
Yeah.
Um, but game seven, they came out and they didn't shoot the ball well, but what they did is they played defense
Mm-hmm.
hella well again, man.
Yeah.
Like really well. They held them to 91 points.
Yeah. They ended up getting, I would say the defense was great all night. Even in the first, there was a few little lapses here and there, but overall it was really solid. I mean, there were multiple possessions. I was just clapping at the screen in the way that they were rotating and helping each other and doing
Well,
all the
and
things they need to do. But then they were still just hitting. I mean, they shot 50% from three in the first half. And yet, shooting 50%, that being the Pacers, by the way, shooting 50%, they only scored 48 points.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that tells you how well the defense was still playing in the first half, and they were just hitting shots. And that's what made seven scary because this team, Nimhart can get hot. Neesmith can get hot. Hallie was hot to start the game. And that's what makes you scary when it's one game to decide it all was if they just start hitting threes, it could really be a problem and it can
well,
really get in trouble.
they came out in the when you go into halftime, Pacers lost their best player, and you're still down by what was it, two or three or so, I don't remember what we
We
were
were
down, but
down
we were
one, yeah.
down one and a half. And you come out and you're just like, okay, you guys, you gotta really lift the energy and like start putting your foot on their throat and making it your game. And they did in the third quarter because I saw like I think the stat was like I believe Indiana had like 7 or 8 turnovers and the Thunder had zero.
Yeah.
It was like a flip of what we saw in like some of the lapses they had in that series where they were taking care of the ball and they were forcing Indiana to try to press,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that was huge, and then I got especially nervous in the fourth because we were up 20 what odd points or whatever at one point, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. And like I remember, like even our dad was texting, like, "Oh, game over," basically, and we are like, "Not
Yeah.
yet,"
No, we were
like
like, stop, stop.
because
Oh
that
yeah.
Oklahoma sports fan in the back of our head that's like, we've seen this too many times. Like
Yes.
we've
Yes.
seen this movie. And they did let them get close, but they never they let them close that gap, but they never let them get really close.
The difference is they started hitting those shots that they were missing most of the finals, most of the playoffs.
Hmm.
They started hitting some of those shots in the second half. And what happened when they start hitting those shots? They pulled into a 21-point lead.
Yeah.
And that was almost
Yeah.
insurmountable with 8 or 9 minutes to go, the way we were playing defense. And because they didn't have Hallie. Without Hallie and we were playing defense that way, they could have gone on a run, but it was still was like
Mm.
that
Like,
was
and here's the deal. Like, I want to be very clear. Halliburton is a very, very, very good player, right?
mhm.
He definitely is a guy that helps that team do what they do. All those things are true. But I'm just, like, I also just want to put this in perspective. Like, if we were saying that, like, if this was a Thunder player and we were going, oh, such and such Thunder player got hurt, there's an asterisk. And here's what they did in the finals: 14 points, 17 points,
Yeah.
22 points, 18
Yep.
points, 4 points, 14 points, 9 points. Like,
Great point. Yep.
there, I'm sorry. Like,
So,
as good as Halliburton is, and let's go to assists 6, 6, 11, 7, 6, 5. Okay. Like, nothing out. Like, I'm sorry. He hit some massively big shots earlier in the playoffs. He had some huge games earlier in the playoffs. In this finals, I'm sorry, but Tyrese Halliburton was not this is the best player on the floor guy. Like, he was
well,
not. And I
He
would
was he
imagine,
was the dude that ran that engine. He was the dude that keeps
yeah,
that engine going.
he has kind of that like quarter, or like a field general type quarterback approach, or whatever to how he runs that, like how he affects that team.
He's
sure,
very much Chris Paul. He's very much Chris Paul. Like doesn't have to score a lot and doesn't turn the ball over. He gets everything going. By the way,
there's
this
definitely
just
some.
came in.
Oh,
Uh, it was the most watched NBA Finals game in the last 6 years last
let's
night.
go.
But I thought it was
Let's
gonna be a
go.
boring series.
It was a very back and forth series.
It was a great
Yeah.
look. And I said it going in. Look, Indiana was getting hot at the right time of the
That's
season.
what scared me the
Yeah,
most. They were in the
People
playoffs. They
people
could not
forget
miss.
people forget that they started off the season extremely slow. I don't remember what their record was, but they were like 9 and
Like
15 or something.
no, like 13 and 15 or something like that, or
yeah.
12 and
Yeah.
15.
Yeah, so it's like they once they course corrected and got back on track, they were one of the best teams in the NBA. Obviously, they made it
Yes.
to the finals.
Since
Yeah,
January 1, they had the second best record to
yeah,
us.
yeah. And everybody just kept ignoring that all the way through. This is a
Well,
very good team.
can I just touch on because I went on a dude on Twitter the other day, and I just want to highlight this. What is it with people not like neglecting stats in the playoffs this year? Like
Give us
people like
what you're talking about.
so there was a guy that was like, it's not going to matter what happens in game seven. The refs are going to decide it. They're just going to call every whistle for
Oh
the
my
Thunder. And I'm
gosh.
like, going into the game seven, the Pacers had more fouls called in their favor
Yes,
than
yes.
we did. Why is that? Why is that such a tired thing? And then it was
I
like,
don't.
you keep hearing the like, and it's not even idiots on Twitter. It's like you have the commentators, well, the free throw merchant and stuff. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I get where you like, I get the
We only shot two more in this game. In game seven, we made the same amount of free throws in this game.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just
But
it
There definitely was a I mean, I don't know why, and I don't think it was you can't say small market because both teams were small markets, but
yeah, I'm going to
like
say
I was
small market because Colin Cowherd is a freaking idiot with his
well,
takes this morning.
Cowherd, yes, but I'm talking about during the game. Like even Richard Jefferson, like they showed a play and it's clearly a foul. Like it's clearly a foul from
Yeah.
Indiana towards Oklahoma City, and they're like, man, playing some really hustle defense there, but over that great defense, J Dub like makes a shot, and it's like, okay, and then they'll show a highlight the next go round. They're like, well, you can see the Thunder definitely got away with one there, but somehow Indiana overcome
They
like
would try
that
to
kind
just
of
play
stuff.
up that stuff
Oh,
so much. It was so
I
frustrating,
here
man.
I think this is another aspect to it. Like the small market thing, I think is a big part to that equation. But I think another part is like the Thunder are not winning a championship the way that a lot of like other potential well not to call us a dynasty yet, but other teams that have been dynasties or have been great teams have not won it. Like Golden State was known for just hitting threes from anywhere on the floor, right? Like they had a good defense, but they like the Thunder are a
They
very
were actually the best defense in the game during their run,
sure, but what I'm
statistically.
saying is I would argue that they weren't defensive focused. As good as they were on defense, I would say that they weren't a defensively focused team.
I'm
I
gonna
get what
have
you're
to
saying.
just.
I
I
think
see
there
what you're
was
saying, but I did.
there
Yeah,
there was some to the Golden State defense side where they would get on such a flurry of threes that it would make the other team then panic and start launching threes and help some of their defensive numbers. And yes, you never looked at Steph and went, Steph is a defensive force that you have to worry about in a
Yeah.
game.
I'm not taking away from their defense. What I'm saying is like the Thunder are like the core of their team is a focus on defense.
Yes. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying there.
yeah. I agree
But
with
yeah,
you.
I just don't know what the hate was, Jared. I agree with you. I don't know. I tried to look it up. Doris Burke's not from Indiana, as far as I can tell. She doesn't live there, but she obviously was.
Doris Burke is an idiot.
She was all
She,
in
dude,
on the pay. Apparently she had like a parlay bet preseason that if the Pacers won, she was going to have a huge cash out because she was all over that, and in the Minnesota series for that
There there
matter.
was there was I don't even remember what game it was. There was one game where I about literally threw my remote at my TV. But it was like Dort goes up and tries to it was the one where it was they called it a flagrant. No, actually it wasn't. He went up to block a shot, and I mean like his thumbnail might have scraped the guy's like hand. You know what I mean? They call a foul, and she's like, I mean, I guess that's clean, but he's just a really annoying player. He just does that, and sometimes he gets dirty with it. And I was like, what? Like, what about that play makes you scream dirty? He went straight for the ball. Like, I mean, literally barely touched the guy's hand. I guess you technically can call that a foul, but it wasn't like he went and swiped the dude and tackled him to the ground. Like,
I
what
can't.
are we?
I used to have a lot of respect for Doris. Like I thought she
Yeah,
was fine in the booth, and then during, like you said, the T-Wolves series and this series, it was frustrating
yeah,
watching. It was
yeah,
very frustrating watching. They would do replays on a good Pacer play, but not one of ours.
yeah.
Right? Like it was.
Well, again, it
I
was the
didn't understand
tone,
it.
and I wish I'd have written it down last night. But
Yeah, that's a good one.
there was one last night where it was just like, again, the tone was, well, this or that. Like it was an excuse when the Pacers would foul somebody, and here's all the reasons why that's okay. And then when the Thunder would do it, the tone of the way that they would set it all up was, well, nothing happened. like it's on this side. And that's what was driving me nuts. When you could clearly see a foul from Indiana on a play they didn't call a foul, it was the great effort. Oh, a great example. Here it is last night. TJ McConnell. Do you remember when TJ McConnell just stood there for 5 seconds and got a 5 second turnover call? And Doris Burke
Hmm.
just praised TJ McConnell because he made such a smart decision there to not inbound the ball or call a timeout. Like, excuse me? Like, are we being serious right now? Like in a
Yeah.
tight game in the finals, you're gonna praise a guy because he didn't inbound the ball in 5 seconds. Like
Well,
it was stuff
like
like that
like
that was crazy.
there was it game. I don't remember if it was game 6 or game 5, but Hartenstein was like they like Indiana was trying to inbound the ball, and I don't even remember what happened. But I think he tried to throw it in, and it ended up like bouncing and like they went out of bounds or something. Hartenstein walks over. I don't remember who it was for the Pacers, but that guy's standing there. Hartenstein's walking over to get the ball to inbound it as quick as possible. And he walks over, and the Indiana player shoves him. And she's like, well, I think he thought that he was trying to get in his face. And I was like, Hartenstein walked over with it, like reaching for the ball like this. And you thought that he was trying to assault the guy. Like that's your logic. Like what? Like he's not the he was the victim here. Like what are we
No, I
doing?
know.
Like
I got you. All right. So we've given Doris Burke way too much pub on this one.
yeah.
So all right, in these finals, I want to talk about a few players here. Um, I'm going to start with Chet. Okay, because for whatever reason, after Game 6, people are dogging Chet for whatever reason.
Yep.
Well,
Dude has played. Hold on, I got some stats. Dude has played a season and a half, 1.5 seasons. He's 23 years old. His ceiling is still we can't see it.
No.
Okay, we can't see it. He averaged in these playoffs. He averaged 15.2 points per game as the third option. Good
Hmm.
job. Nearly 9 rebounds a game. Well done, sir.
Yep.
And nearly 2 blocks a game in the playoffs. He led the finals, all players in plus minus.
Huh.
He led the finals, all players in rebounds. He led all players in blocks in the finals.
Oh yeah.
Youngest, he's the youngest with 40 plus playoff blocks run since Ibaka, and the youngest
Huh.
with over 10 finals blocks since Duncan.
Wow.
The
I mean,
dude is elite, and
Yep.
his offense will come.
Yep.
Like,
I think it's like people are trying to grasp onto something after 6, which was so frustrating. Because like I saw it too, where like a reporter posted a picture or a video of Chet sitting on the bench, like while they were doing practice the day before the finals, game 7. And he was like, well, Chet's just sitting there, like, and like made this post. He's like, well, I wasn't trying to say anything. I'm like, trying to say he's lazy. You get like 30 minutes of availability. It's like Chet could have spent the rest of practice working his, like, we have no context to what this is, but you can
mhm.
just tell people we're trying to latch on to somebody to blame for game 6, not knowing how game 7 was going to turn out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's Troy. I think, yeah, I don't understand the hate for Chet. I don't get it. I don't understand it with his youth and how little he's played. Now, at the same time, I will admit, both on social media and everywhere else, I had a lot of questions about J-Dub early in these playoffs. But
Oh, I'll
he
get to you.
he went through a stretch there early where he was not playing what we knew he was capable of. And again, I think the reason I was concerned is it's his second playoff run. We're early in the playoffs. We're not playing great teams, and you're having multiple games where you're not rising to that level, right? And that's what we saw last year against Dallas. It was like we need J Dub to be this guy. Now, he awoke himself and came into it, and he was fantastic to finish out the playoffs and all those things. But yeah, I think it's like we've talked about before though, when we go into the finals, it's OKC is going to win this, no problem. They lose game 1. It's like, well, I think Indiana's going to win this here. I mean, it just flipped immediately the other way. And I think the minute that you look in the box score and you don't see Chet with 20 points, you immediately think he's had some terrible, horrific game.
Chet
And
or J-Dub?
Chet. I'm talking
Okay,
like to your point of
sorry,
Chet.
you,
Yeah, I
all right,
switched
there you
on
go.
you. Yes. But I think I think we all do that in these playoffs. It's that whole Steve Nash quote that made the rounds forever. Every time you lose in the playoffs, you feel like you'll never win again, and every time you win, you feel like you'll never lose again. And I think we do the same thing with players. Once they have a bad game, they'll never have a good one again. Every time they have a good game, we think they can't be stopped and they're going to go to the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame within the playoffs. And I think two people, I think it also comes down to fandom, right? Is the other side. I think the fan base, even as Oklahoma City fans, there are those who love Chet and they like J Dub, and there's those who love J Dub and they like Chet. And so when Chet doesn't own that number two spot, it's the fans of J Dub go, well, Chet needs to go. He's obviously the guy that can't push this thing over, if that makes sense, right? And vice versa when J Dub has a rough game.
So I agree with you. I also think there is still ingrained in all of us in Oklahoma the mentality of football. Every game
Mm-hmm.
matters, every game, and that is not the way the NBA works.
No, no, for sure.
It is trends. It is by long trends, multiple weeks of trends. Like that's when you can start looking at things like this. We need to start worrying about this, or we can look at this. This is awesome, right? Like it's all about trends in the NBA instead of one game. And we fall into that as Oklahoma fans because of football. We've been so ingrained with it for over decade after decade of just football, right? And so speaking of J Dub, his third season. Now he's played three straight, like three full seasons.
Right.
Same draft classes as Chet, but he's got a season and a half more experience inside of him, right?
Correct.
So in that time, think about what this dude has done in these playoffs, in this season. He's 24 years old. His third season, he was an All-Star, third team All NBA, second team All Defensive, NBA champion. He averaged 20, nearly 24 points in the finals, five boards, nearly four assists. Dude should get all the praise. Like he was up and down on spots, and sometimes the reason we didn't win, sometimes it wasn't the reason. But man, I am so happy that we've got Chet and J Dub. They're
Mm-hmm.
so young, and even our leader, the dude, the head of the snake, is still so young.
Yeah.
Like it is incredible. Like I'm to see what they're gonna do in the future, but like their maturity and what they learned throughout this postseason, we saw it real time. Even Game 7 was another learning moment,
Yep.
like another growth moment. And so I equate this run like the Spurs, one of the Spurs or one no, not the Spurs, the Warriors first run. If you go back to the Warriors first title run, they met good teams, but there was always a significant injury on those teams in their first run.
Mm-hmm.
But it helped them learn. So whenever they did go on more runs going forward, they had learned from that even when it was harder because they weren't running into injuries
Yep.
anymore. And so like I kind of equated to I'm hoping equated to that, but like what how they matured throughout these entire playoffs is something we wanted to see them do last year, but they were still so young and they're still young right now.
Mm-hmm.
But like they learned from it. They even their celebrations just like
Oh my gosh. Did you see the post game about the celebration, by the way?
oh yeah.
Like when the reporter asked, hey, we were all in there when y'all came in, and it just didn't feel like that was the same kind of celebration we normally see. And he goes, yeah, none of us knew how to open champagne bottles.
Yeah, iHeart was like, we had to ask AC to how do we do
We
this?
had to get a tutorial on how to open champagne bottles. And J Dub said in his, he had never had alcohol until last night. Last night
Yeah,
was the best.
yeah.
I mean, I think like what's okay. So I got to tell my story to Troy because this is like, as Oklahomans, right? We obviously love the Thunder. The fun thing is this team has so much personality and they're young.
Mm-hmm.
They're not an Oklahoma brand. So my story, Troy, is I was in basically Central Ontario. We'll say Central Ontario, and we go into this butcher shop and we walk in and I look at the guy standing behind the counter and he's got a Thunder hat on. And in my head, I'm like, we're all the way in Canada. Like, there's no way that this, like, he probably just bought a random hat. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it was kind of beat up and stuff. And she like my girlfriend looks at me and she's like, "There's like, what is it with you and like Oklahoma stuff being everywhere?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's probably just an old hat." So like I walk up and I think I had an OU shirt on. And so he knew, and he's like, Oklahoma? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, Thunder up. He's like, Thunder in 5. This was like right after game 1, I think. And I was like, bro, I was like, are you the Thunder fan? He's like, dude, I love the Thunder. And I was like, are you from? He's like, I've never been to Oklahoma. I know nothing about Oklahoma. And I was like, so why are you a Thunder fan? He's like, well, I grew up watching Russ, Durant, and Harden. And then
Hmm.
he's like, dude, this team is just so much fun to watch. And the crazy part is too, and like I even point out to her, when you're driving around Toronto, especially, like there's even when we went to Montreal, like Toronto, there's Thunder. Like I saw a lot of Thunder stickers on cars because SGA's from Hamilton, which is right outside Toronto.
Yeah.
And then when you're in Montreal, you see a lot of it too because Dort's from Montreal.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So like they have an international brand. I mean, I know those are sort of isolated incidents, but it's like I even here, like even in Pennsylvania, like people were like, "Yeah, dude, I love the Thunder." Like they're such a fun brand of basketball, and I think people like lose sight of that because they're such a young and fun team, and they have so much personality, and it's like they have the opportunity. I don't want to say this like knock on wood or whatever. They have the opportunity to be that dynasty that is a popular team that is you see everywhere because they're just fun. They just have that brand already.
Yeah.
What's so funny is everybody likes watching them until their team they're a fan of plays them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And
they're like, oh, they're the worst.
it's
You're
what
like,
Shay
yeah.
said spot on, which was last year when they were making this run. This team was young, fun. We can't wait to see what they're every fan, every pundit, every media outlet, right? And Shay said it best. We weren't sending their teams home.
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
sending their teams home. And like when the whole free throw emergent question got out, he goes, I shot more free throws the last 2 seasons. No one cared
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
weren't winning, but now we are. And now, Troy, I want to ask you this question, or do you still want to talk players? You have more player stat you want to
One
talk?
I no, just one dude. We
Go.
can't not talk about Shea, right?
Oh, heck no.
The MVP, all the things he just accumulated this season.
Is
Brian
insane.
Windhorst said it. He's like, if he wins the championship and he wins Finals MVP, he is a Hall of Famer at age 26.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, period.
Yeah.
Can't argue it. All the accolades. He's three-time All NBA, three-time All-Star,
3 time scoring
MVP.
champ.
Not no no no.
Did he not win
No,
it last year and the
no,
year before?
this is the first year. This is the first year he's won it. Because they've
Oh,
had like Luca had like 33 last year, and the year before that,
that's
Giannis
right.
had like 33 or something like that. He's averaged 30 for three
For
straight
3 years.
years.
There we
But
go.
this is the most he's had. Well, I always thought like his scoring was gonna start dipping as the talent around him got better, but actually
Mm-hmm.
his scoring's going up
Mm-hmm.
because the talent's better.
It's
It's fun that
weird.
way.
But
Anywho,
this team is like I the thing that like gives me I know we're not going to the future yet. Actually, I'll talk about it later because Troy, I know you have one player to go to.
Yeah.
So let's talk
SGA.
about him and then I'll talk about future.
so Shea, y'all, what he did. Well, there's only four players ever,
This is awesome.
four players ever to win the scoring title, MVP, and win the title.
Yeah.
Kareem, Shaq, Shea, and then Jordan did it four times.
Which is just a dumb
Wait,
stat.
you forgot LeBron James. Sorry, I'm not going to stir that whole pot, but
Uh,
No, there is no pot to stir because he does not enter in the conversation.
he does not enter.
I'm starting to think sidebar conversation. I'm starting to think Kobe passes him in my all-time rankings. Whatever. I'm not going there right now. Um, but what he just put together, 84 wins. Only four other teams have ever done it, or three other teams have ever
Three.
done it.
Yeah.
They're the fourth, right?
Yeah.
And the Warriors are the only ones that didn't win it, and they should have that year.
Yeah.
there was another stat I saw that was like NBA Finals appearances with like I think it was like average age below 25, and it was like the Thunder twice because there was like the Russell Durant and all that era, and
Mhm.
then I think it was like the Rockets or somebody in like the 80s. It's like
Trailblazers.
yeah, it's maybe the Trailblazers, but it was like somebody in like the 80s or 90s, and that's the only three. So it's like the Thunder have two like a round of applause to Presti who just keeps assembling young talent.
Yeah.
Yes, and his and what Shea did last night. I know he didn't shoot the ball well. That's
Right.
fine. He was in utter control of the game the entire night.
Yep.
They figured out the low pick and rolls because what happened in game six, they had on average they were picking up the Pacers were picking up the Thunder at 98 feet
Right.
the entire series. Game six, their average pickup was 41 feet.
Right.
And so what happened was they were doing these high pick and rolls in the first five games. They had figured it out, and then Shea and J-Dub had all this room to operate the pick and rolls. Well, they as you pick up lower, you have less room to operate because you're packing the paint with the pick and rolls. And
Mm-hmm.
so they didn't. That was a good counter punch
Yep.
by Rick by Carlisle, right?
Yep.
Um, then Shea figured it out. He didn't turn the ball. He had one turnover last night. One.
Yep.
He had
Yep.
8 in game 6, one last night. Y'all, 29, 12 assists. Playoff career high. Dude, and his defense was on point last night as well.
Yep.
The dude is a superstar. He's either one or two in the players on this planet, how good
Yep.
they are. Right? And
100%.
so I'm so happy that we made the trade. We got J Dub and Shea in the trade, which is hilarious.
Yep.
Um, it, just what he has done and will continue to do. And I'm so proud that I'm an Oklahoma Thunder fan because he does things the right way. He gives people respect. He treats all of his teammates and the opposing teammates. When Hallie went down, who was one of the first dudes that went over there? It was
Shayla,
Shea,
yeah. Yeah.
you know? So like
I mean,
he does things the right way. He's not flashy. He's Tim Duncan in a 6'6" guard's body.
Mhm.
it's the thing with this team just overall. I mean, Shea obviously is the front runner, and he is the superstar. Let's not get it twisted. Like as many good players they have on this team, the spotlight's on him as far as who's the best player. There's no doubt.
Right.
But when you watch him go give interviews, and when you watch him, in post game or just whatever, like he's always talking about his teammates. Like he's never like, "Well, I
Always.
had a really good game."
Yep.
Like he's always
Always.
they do the thing where the whole team is basically at the post game interview, even if they're just interviewing Shea.
Mhm.
Like they have that mentality of a team that is not common in the NBA anymore.
And that's what Degnault said in post game that he said multiple times this season. He said,
Mhm.
especially in pro sports, you don't have guys that root for each other. Like it's just not there. He goes, but this team truly roots for their teammates' success. They
Mhm.
truly want each other to excel. The only way you can get there is the guy that is considered the franchise guy sets that tone. The coach can say it all day long, but when you're in pro sports, like it does not matter if the franchise guy doesn't set that tone and set that mark. And
Yep.
SGA has set that tone and has set that mark. And I think now going back to the other guy last night that I thought had the most unique performance I've ever seen him have was Sam Presti. I've never seen Sam Presti asked a question where he did not know exactly what he wanted to say. It was awesome watching him on stage last night get that trophy because I looked at Evan, I was like, dude, he literally doesn't know how he wants to present this right now, and he is shook. He is so excited
It was
about this
awesome.
win, and you never see Presti that way ever,
No,
ever,
you don't.
ever, ever. He wanted that so bad, and it was
Yeah.
awesome to see him
The
celebrating it last night.
the last thing I'll say about Shea is Jordan had the highest points per average for a player that won the title ever, right? At 32.6 points per game. That was the highest points per average, scoring average in a championship year for a player.
Wow,
Shea just beat that for the highest average at 32.7, highest scoring average ever for a title player.
wow.
Jeez.
I mean, dude, it's unreal. This
I mean,
offseason will be very, very fascinating to see how they handle all the flowers coming for the next month, and then with the season literally a month and a half away. Again,
And the
I
and
mean,
the way
I
and the way they never lost. They never lost after a loss. They only lost twice.
7-0,
Uh,
7-0
in
after
the
a
playoffs,
loss
seven
in the
and
playoffs.
unbelievable.
I,
Sorry, I keep
I
cutting you off, Jared. My bad.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think. talking, since now we can kind of segue to the future. The thing I think that's special about this team is to highlight the negative. There was games like game 6 where it felt a little bit like their youth crept in at times. Like, Daryl and I were talking about this, and it's like game 6, they started to get behind, and then they just started throwing up threes, it felt like they just started doing almost what you said what the Warriors did to people. It was like they were trying to get back into the game immediately, and like some of that youth kind of crept in. If they can keep this team intact, that youth's going to get less and less.
All right.
Like those sorts of mistakes are going to be fewer and fewer.
It
So
did
it's
throughout
like,
the whole playoffs. Like what's crazy, even though it happened in Game 6, it like
yeah, but what I'm
it,
saying is, as it goes forward, those things should diminish and be a lesser occurrence. And so it's like I really think if they keep going the trajectory they're going, this is like they're on a very upward trend, even though they just won
oh
an
yeah.
NBA championship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I,
As long as they keep their heads on straight, and Troy has said this multiple times, and I totally bow down to this statement. He's not the only one, but this is the worst iteration of this team you should see.
Yeah,
Like
there's a
this,
lot of
this is
things.
the worst.
That's what's crazy. Before I want to jump into that in just a second. Last, like I said, that was the last thing about Shea. This is the last question I'll ask about Shea. Is he the greatest Thunder player of all time now?
Yes, like
Jared?
from a what? Oh, sorry, I'll let
Whatever,
Jared answer.
whatever, no,
How
whatever way you want to
I'm gonna say
classify it.
no. He's second.
Okay.
you still think
I'm
Russ
gonna,
is number one?
I'm, I'm going yes. He's surpassed Russ. Russ never brought us a championship, and
I like let
championships
me put it this
matter.
way because I'm gonna be the contradictory one here, but Russ is like one, and then like it's like Shea is like 1B. Like he's right there. And I think if Shea even does close to what he did this year, then I would put him in that category. But it was like Russ for so many years was the life of the Thunder.
I
No, no,
I
I get it, and the
mhm.
loyalty matters.
But
And and,
I
and
think it's reversed with I think the championship has completely changed it. I really do. And Jared, I don't think you're far off. I mean, I think a
No,
lot
yeah,
of
you're
people
not.
would say 1A, 1B, just the other way around, but I still think, as much as I don't want to say this, I still think the most talented player that's ever come through the Thunder is obviously KD. I still think that. I still think his talent is way up there. I think he's still probably going to be considered
He's still
maybe
on the overall all-time list. He's still higher than Shea.
right.
But if Shea does this for the next 4 to 6 years,
It's
Shea's
yeah.
going to surpass
And
him.
as far as like Thunder fandom, Shea is now he is the guy. He is the Lord.
Mhm.
Like that is the next jersey. Everybody after Russ is like that's like he's next. And it's
I
not
just
even KD.
Yeah.
It's they want his up there. He's earned
I
it
like
and
I
won it.
said, like when he was at the Thunder, especially in his prime, just the explosiveness he had. Like there was just things about him that nobody else could do. And then like his stats, people were gonna be like, "Oh, stat padding." It's like even if you're stat padding, like
Oh yeah.
you set a record for triple doubles.
Oh, the triple
Like
double season will be probably the second greatest season ever in Thunder lore
yes,
for a
that's
long
why like
time.
I if Shea does it, that's where it's like as it sits at this moment in time, even with the championship, and people can come at me, I would still put Russ ahead by just
Oh,
a
yeah,
hair.
that's. I don't think there's a wrong answer here.
Mm.
But I do love that there is a wrong answer right now about this question. Um,
Oh gosh.
Shea is now better all time than Luka Doncic, and it's not close.
Yes.
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 I love that. So
Oh,
let's
I
go back to
can I
what.
I love that.
I have one other gripe, and Daryl, you and I have talked about this. Did anybody find it weird? I know that the Lakers just had the acquisition and stuff, but did you find it weird that they had that whole segment about the Lakers in the middle of the finals game? And I'm like,
Yes,
the
I
and
Lakers.
that's just what they do. They can't help themselves.
that's an
That's what
it's
they
ES.
do.
frustrating. It's just so I was like
No, I know.
The Lakers got bounced from the playoff. Why are we even like put that on Sports Center? Who cares? Like
Yeah.
I know. I know. So go back to what you were talking about, Daryl. Let's talk about the future. Because thank you for giving me like just letting me let's we're in our fields, right? It's a
Yeah.
I can't talk well today because I've been in my fields all day. But uh this you're right in bringing that up. This is they're not going to be worse than this again outside of injuries,
Right.
right?
yeah,
And
knock on wood.
let's think about that. They shot the ball actually terribly throughout the playoffs from three.
Yep.
They were in and out of games in their focus, right?
Hmm.
They got out rebounded, out assisted in a lot of games. Defense would go up and down at times.
Hmm.
J Dub was in and out. Chet offense
Shea
almost
got sticky with
regressed.
the ball.
Yeah, Shea got sticky with the ball. Like Chet's offense regressed in the postseason. And guess what? We still won the freaking title.
Is
Yeah.
this? Let me ask you this, Troy. Do you think this is
Wild.
like compared to their standard? Do you think was the messiest NBA champion ever? Were this Thunder team the messiest
What
NBA?
define that? Like
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
did they play like the fact that they won a championship, especially compared to what they did in the regular season, and even parts of the postseason in this final series? I felt like they actually played below their standard and still won.
well, that's okay. Yes and no, but that's the challenges that the Pacers team
Hmm.
presents with
Yeah.
the way they're structured. So we can't pack the paint, and when we did, they'd kick it out. Pascal Siakam hit a three every time he was open. It was
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
and so like I think that was just the challenges because no other team is structured that way. We're the only one that is structured that way
Uh-huh.
um, without iHeart. When you put Queso or Caruso in the game instead, we're the exact same team but just better.
Yeah.
Um, and so that I don't I yes and no is my answer to that. I don't know if they're the messiest of all time. If I would say if it comes to mind, the messiest probably the Pistons of '04 or '03 or whatever that season
Hmm.
was. They were just messy. They were just defense. They didn't have good offense. And that was a different brand of basketball, like '80s, '90s
I think
in the point
I mean,
scoring.
my
I
point,
think you
my
could
point
even make the argument, like from where I think you're trying to ask the question, Jared. I think you could make that argument maybe of the first championship run that Troy was talking about with Golden State, where they were really good through that regular season. They were a team that everybody was watching, but then they just did not play to their standard. They had a lot of injury luck through that run. They went on a lot of
And
six
because
game and seven game.
they were so
So
young and we
young,
were so
right?
young and the reason why is because of our age and our
Yes,
experience level.
yeah, youth
but
is wasted on the young. But I mean that's the point I'm trying to make is I agree with you, Troy. Like they didn't even play their best basketball is my point, and they still won an NBA championship.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was alluding to. That's a great way to
yeah,
put it.
yeah.
They didn't play their best basketball and they still won the championship. And yes, they got taken to seven, but I think the Pacers were way better than people thought they were,
Hmm.
especially since January 1,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, we won the title, and next year they're going to be better for it. And
Hmm.
there's literally not one person that's not coming back outside of Presti wanting to deal somebody,
Right.
right? Like
Well,
everybody is under contract.
And so that's
what
where this offseason is huge, not in an acquisition standpoint, but again, like Chet talked about it. Chet said, I took a 1 weekend vacation in the offseason, and then I went to the lab all offseason. And we've seen this. Like Kansas City's a great example of this. Like that first title run that they went on, they make the run again the next year, but they don't get and like Mahomes straight up said, he's like, you just get caught up in all the stuff in the offseason. You don't really dial into the details like you did when you're chasing it. Now,
Mhm.
granted, they came back and won it again after that, but that's going to be the question for this young team
Mhm.
is how do they handle going on the Tonight Show for the next 3 weeks and going to this and doing the I'm going to Disney, like all the stuff that's about to come their way because they've won it. How do they handle that and get back into the lab of saying, okay, we didn't play our best. How can we now next year get to the level where we do play our best throughout the playoffs? Because there's going to be other teams coming. There's going to be other teams that get
there's
better. There's going to be other teams that draft somebody. There's going to be somebody else that gets hot or whatever it is, and they've got to handle it and do it. And I mean, I trust this team to do that, but we'll see. You know,
I mean, I think it's because you have that difference of personality on this team. Like I said, they're a very fun, kind of goofy, like free flowing team, and that's really good. But it's like you need a little bit of like that Michael Jordan mentality of like I don't care. You're going to have to drag me off this court before I lose,
mm-hmm.
and like I like to be honest, as much as I love this team, I don't see that right now with a lot of them, and they're gonna have to have that mentality going forward because they've got the crosshair on them now.
Yeah, they
They
process the
they
game.
had the crosshair all year though.
Yeah.
Like I felt like.
Yeah, I just think they process the game differently. Jordan's process for the game was, I'm going to come take your soul. And this team is really different in that it is very much about doing everything exactly the right, like it's just very methodical as opposed to force in the way that they
Hmm.
process and they educate themselves through the game. So Troy, here I'm curious what you guys think very quickly before we wrap up a couple other things here, but uh what do you think is the celebration plan for this team? Like somebody was
What do
asking
you?
that on the radio today. They were like, most teams they all load up on a private jet and rent out some club in Vegas and they go hit Vegas for the weekend after the championship, right? Or whatever it is. Like what like the
I
fact that like thinking about like even like little things. Like J-Dub in one of his interviews said one of the things he treasures the most from this season is the time with his teammates. Who's just playing Uno on the plane. And like again, Jared, to your point, like Michael Jordan would have answered that's like, oh, it was the $1,000 poker games in the back of the plane, but they're playing Uno like in the back of the
Yeah,
plane.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think they've thought about it.
I don't think they
I
have
I
either.
think I think they were so locked in 0-0-0-0 all season long, and especially this playoff run, they were so locked in that they didn't think forward, and so I think they're just like, what do we do now?
Like I
That's why
almost
the
see,
cell.
I think they're gonna go rent like a mansion on Grand Lake and just chill. Like they're gonna play cornhole in the backyard for a weekend and have some brew. Like that's what it feels like this team would do, as
That
opposed
is.
to
It's like one of the guys like they live in Gallardi or whatever. Like let's just go to the backyard. Like that's what it feels like. I have no idea,
I feel like the
but
uniqueness of it is whatever they do, I could almost guarantee they do as a full team.
oh,
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
there's not gonna be any like, oh, J Dub went to Disney World and Chet went to Lake Tahoe, or you know what I mean. It's like they're whatever they do, they'll do as a unit. Like they're gonna go do together.
I just can't guys. I It is surreal to me that we're sitting here talking about this. All the doubts, all the are they too young? And they're sitting here. We're NBA champions. They're
yeah,
NBA champions
yeah.
on June 23rd, 2025. Like,
Here's a question too, Troy, for future. Like of all those things, like it's unreal. Listening to idiots like Colin Cowherd say that this team is like the bottom feeder of the last seven, like all
sure.
those things. But like that's fine because that's all in the moment. It's all for ratings. There's fandom in all of us. But in 20 years,
Hmm.
when there's guys like us doing some whatever the new level of podcast is, just talking sports, and they look back on this 2025 season, the greatest point differential, more points scored than
Yep.
any team in history. They scored more points in a season than
Yep.
any, and we're sitting here talking about their offense was a struggle. And they scored more
Yep.
points than anybody in history. One of the highest rated defenses in history, the league MVP, the first team All NBA guys, the Western Conference MVP, the Finals MVP, the scoring champ. Like you put all 68 wins, fourth most wins in NBA history. How historic will this team be viewed in 20 years? Like, for instance, none of us know the 78 team that they keep throwing out there, right? The Wizards, I think it was, right? That's like the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
considered this whatever and all these juggernaut number. But I look at all the stats and I go, yeah, that team was freaking incredible. Will this team be in that top five, top three category?
It all depends. It all depends on what happens next, I think.
Hmm.
I think everything depends on it could be a one-hit wonder like we've seen with the Nuggets, the Bucks, right? Like these teams,
But
the
this
Mavericks.
season, but this
Let
one
me
season, like, is
But
that
I know what you're saying. I know what
well,
you're saying. I think it all comes down to next. Is it the start of a dynasty, or is it like, hey, they had an incredible defensive run that season?
hmm.
so okay. Like here's something I want to ask you, Troy. Because saying all that, I would make the statement that this team, when they were playing their best basketball,
Hmm.
I think I would put up against nearly any other team of the last 30 years.
Okay.
I mean, look, here's my thought process on this. Game 2 against the Nuggets. a good team, has the second best player in the NBA, at least top three player in the NBA, and they beat them by 43 points and made them look
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't just that game. Like, there was games throughout the season, there was games throughout the playoffs where they made teams that were really, really good and elite teams look silly.
So it comes down to where you think they rank against the Warriors, the best Warriors team, the best Lakers team, the best Spurs team,
Yes.
and I guess the Heatles, but I still don't think the Heatles, they were great. Don't get me wrong. We had three great people, but like I still don't think they were as good as the teams I just mentioned.
Yeah, that one's hard.
So
But I do think I don't know about the
I
team
think I
side of it,
think
but I think this season, that's where I was getting. I think in 20 years, people are going to look back and when they start putting the stats here, they're going to go, God bless. It might have even been a
yeah,
one
no,
hit
you're
wonder,
right.
but
100,
that season was, they were one of the best teams in history for that season. Like, that's one of the
and
greatest
here's the
seasons.
thing, it is, and I started realizing this. It is a product of Adam Silver's NBA league, right? David Stern wanted dynasties, right? That's what
Mm
David Stern wanted. Adam Silver wants parity. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to either one of those,
hmm.
right? Because now we've had seven different teams with seven different win the championship for the last 7 years, and so because of the parity and the CBA, you're kind of fighting against the CBA along with your opponent. I heard somebody say that this morning, and
Oh,
I
that's
think they're
good.
right. But you can't stack stars anymore. It's really
Hmm.
hard to stack stars, and so then you have to spread them out throughout the league. And so and that was this year, a lot of this year, right? And the Thunder, they took the NFL approach of if you have a stud quarterback on a rookie deal, go, right?
Hmm.
And we had three studs, well, two studs on rookie deals and one MVP, and they said go. And with the parity of the league, contract situation, it was the perfect opening for the Thunder this year.
and here's the
Um,
and
yeah.
the crazy part is that Presti is such a magician, even with where they are. They just won NBA championship and
Mm-hmm.
they're still built to build for a future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Like
100%.
like like
They've
like
got
like most
14 picks in the next 7 years. 14 first round picks in the next 7 years. They have two
yeah,
this year.
and that's what's crazy to me is like I said, my boss is a big Sixers fan, and all Sixers fans can talk about is the process and everything. And I'm like, they need to be looking at what Presti's doing because like teams like most teams are like, okay, we need to rebuild, so let's blow it up and let's rebuild, and they do everything they can to make the best team they can, and then when that team's as good as they're going to be able to get it, they're back in the same boat where they don't have any picks, they don't have anything to build
Mm-hmm.
for the future, and somehow Presti's done it in a way that even if something crazy happened, if you have a KD situation or you have something wild happen, you still have the equity to say I'm still building. Like I'm not done building. That's what's crazy about what Sam Presti has done.
Yep. Yep. No, you're 100% right. Presti's one of the greatest GMs of all time now. You can go ahead and write him up as that.
Oh yeah, he should be on the
It's
Mount Rushmore of GMs.
of just GMs, right? By the way, I just read a tweet. The rumor is going around that KP Kendrick Perkins was crying after the game in OKC,
Interesting.
which is pretty cool. He's giving a ton of love
He
to
has
us.
throughout the playoffs. I mean, he continues to be one of the only guys that says this team is one of the greatest defensive teams in history. He has
Well,
said it over and
and the
over.
inside the NBA crew has said that all year long
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. The guys that actually talk basketball.
The no
Yes.
basketball.
And so, I mean, they have, and that's why, again, I think it's going to be, I'm with you, Troy. I think that ultimately OKC overall's judgment will be how they do in these next 5 years with these pieces they have. But I think in 20 years, when everybody goes back and just looks at this season is going to be considered one of the greatest accomplishments of a team ever for a season. Just like, even though they didn't win the championship, the Warriors 73-9 team is still top because their numbers across the board for that season are
Yeah.
insane. They just lost a 7 game series that ended it for them, and that does
Yeah.
put a damper on it. But this team didn't, and I just think their numbers are way, way, way up there. It's going to
Now,
be fascinating.
if we look at next year, it's going to be fascinating. Is Topic really that good? And does he crack the lineup if he is that good? Because it sounds like he might be able to, right?
Yeah,
With his playmaking ability and things like that. So we'll see. But now the expectations next year are sky high. It's championship or bust. If they don't win a championship next year
it'll
and they
be
don't have
deflating.
any significant injuries and everything like that, it'll be it'll be deflating. I will say that the movement around the league could change some of the perspective there. Because there's even guys like LaMelo Ball. It's rumored that he might get moved this offseason. And
Wow.
so like and Shams has said it is like it's going to be the craziest offseason in terms of movement that we've ever seen because
Mhm.
of the CBA.
Right.
And so if Giannis stays cool, then yeah, but like if he goes to the Spurs, are you kidding me?
It's gonna be tough.
Like if Jaylen Brown goes to the Spurs, right? Like guys, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, Depending on like right now, Houston is easily the number two team in the West, easily with with KD.
Katie, yeah.
Um,
I heard, I
that
heard,
trade, good.
I heard Embiid's going to get traded to the Philadelphia Waste Management Company.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, that was for all the Philly fans out there. Um, no, I
Well,
mean
but that team even like if somehow Embiid would actually be healthy for a season and Paul be like they
What's
could run the East next year if they were ever healthy. I don't think that's gonna happen, but they're still
uh
dude,
yeah
you know that Embiid's missed more time than he's played.
yeah
yeah
yeah.
yeah.
Like
I mean
he had that one great season, and then that's it. That's
yeah.
what everybody
Hmm.
hangs their hat on.
Well, it's been awesome. We are, as a family, we're still trying to make our plans for tomorrow about how we're going to go to this parade, where we're going to go, where we're going to park, how we're going to get there. But totally, fully expected to be downtown tomorrow, catching a glimpse of one of the buses that apparently really bothered Rick Carlisle before the game and after the game. Both he talked about the buses already being wrapped with championship wrap prior to the game, which was just interesting move by Rick Carlisle. But um, yeah, man, gonna be fascinating. I'm excited to see how many people actually go to this parade. I think it could be absolutely unhinged for that 4 mile stretch or whatever it
I
is.
heard somebody say they expect a million. We're talking about a third of Oklahoma is going to be there. That doesn't feel right.
I think more. I would say more like 500,000 is possible. I think
Five
that
hundred
that's
thousand
very.
is a huge number
It
for
is a
Oklahoma.
huge number. It's a huge, but I think it's very, I mean, because there are people that drive from Tulsa consistently to go to these
Yeah,
games, like all the time. You also have like people that want to be a part of that stuff, like in corporations like MidFirst and Devon and Loves that are big money people. They're gonna
yeah.
fly people in for this stuff, because they get to go do behind the scenes stuff and all that jazz. Which I mean, again, you're talking about maybe a couple thousand people, but that those companies might bring in or whatever. But I think it's going to be a huge, huge showing. I mean, I've had endless text messages from people today of, do you know where you're going to go? Do you like trying to figure out
Hmm.
plans to make it work? I think there could be a massive turnout tomorrow for that parade, and it will be fascinating to watch and to see. And even today, to see the lines last night that we weren't willing to stand in to get all their gear and then go to Dick's today. And I mean, it was just a steady flow. It was nothing but people coming
It
to
was
get Thunder
nuts.
stuff
It was nuts at
all
Dick's.
morning. Yeah, it was crazy. So, what a fun season, man. What a way to close it out. I still really can't believe it. Um, I really thought this team was so good, but did I really think they were going to win it all? Probably not. Uh, and here we are, guys. Look at us. Look at us.
I told you. What I tell you before the playoffs, Daryl?
We were going to win it all.
I
And you doubted it.
well, no, obviously with the age thing and like the maturity, like they gave me some frights certain nights. But like
Guys,
I told you, like defense, and that superstar home
travel.
court. Those were the three things that you can stamp down every single playoffs.
Yeah,
And
we did.
I think the thing with basketball, and Troy, you highlighted this earlier, it's about trends. And it's like last year you got up against a Mavericks team that just got hot and like had the trend of just hitting every shot that they threw at the basket.
you mean
And so
PJ
you just never,
Washington did?
Yeah, Pete.
yeah.
Yeah.
But my point is that it wasn't like the Thunder played bad. you know, they didn't just give up or anything. It was just that team. So it's like you never know in basketball. You know what I mean? Like everybody thought Cleveland and the Celtics were going to be the ones out of the East, right?
Yeah.
And they got bounced. So it's like you just never know with basketball. I get it. Like you have
The
to have no.
Cleveland thing is wild to me. Like I get that they weren't exactly healthy when they were in the second round, but like the Cleveland one was weird to
Weird.
me.
Yeah.
Boston, you lost Tatum, but you were already losing. Who did the Pacers beat them or the Knicks beat the Celtics?
Knicks. Right? I don't even remember. It's such a blur right now. I can't
I
even
don't,
remember.
but whatever. It doesn't matter. Like it was that was a weird East. And guess what? The East is wide open next year because Tatum is out next year with the
Yeah.
Achilles.
Burton's
Dame
out.
Lillard is out. Halliburton's out. It is wide open
Yeah.
next year.
Knicks beat the Celtics. Pacers beat the Cavaliers.
Okay, thank you,
That's
thank
right.
you, thank you,
That's right.
thank you.
Um, just yeah, it's wild. And guys, we're sitting here celebrating an NBA championship in a state that we all grew up in that had no professional sports. Like we have got to watch Oklahoma go from nothing, like what is this place, to having an NBA team, which was just crazy to even have an NBA
So
team here. And now, like, and not only that, guys, but I mean, it like we have been so lucky in the sense we've been to two finals in our lifetime with our NBA team. Like there are franchises that people have never seen their franchise go to a
The
finals.
Pacers have never won. That was only their I think their second NBA Finals.
Yeah. And
Pacers
they've
have never won a
never won
so
title.
one.
I think like the thing is like I had this experience. I'm gonna tell this quick story. I had this experience when I was up in again when I was up in Canada, hanging out with a girlfriend, and we watched actually the movie Friday Night Lights because she'd never seen it, and she's like, "Is football really that big?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "My like this is my hometown. Like this is how it was. Like they paint the whole downtown area and everything." And she
Yeah.
like couldn't understand it because she's grown up in Toronto. And I was like, you don't understand. Like when you come to like, especially Oklahoma, which is a lot of rural area, even Oklahoma City, it's a big city, but it's like it still has a lot of rural feel compared to
Hmm.
a lot of other mega cities, right? And I was like, that's what you have. That's the community you have is sports. People rally around sports because that's what we have. Like it means more to somebody in Oklahoma City than Toronto was when they won with the Raptors. Like 100% it does. Maybe more people showed up to your parade, or maybe there's more people cheering, but to the people that cheer for Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma, I would literally put it down that on anything that it means more to Oklahomans than it does to somebody in Toronto.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It is crazy. By the way, how about that Lou logo shot last night
Oh
in the
gosh. You
in the first
dude,
half?
you want like he already shoots a rainbow ball. That ball was like literally in the rafters
It
when he let
was
it go. It was
it was like a one,
insane.
2, 3, then it finally goes
Yeah.
in.
It was to watch him and then Chet shoot back to back is like messes with your eyes because Chet's shot is so flat and Lou's is such a rainbow. Like it is just such a stark contrast. But anyways, very quickly for like 2 minutes here. Boys, we got a quarterback in the class, we got a linebacker in the class,
Let's
and
go,
there
baby.
is momentum for the Sooners as well to land some very good wide receivers in the coming days. How do you feel about the trade-off of the Jaden O'Neal decommitment to the Bo Bentley commitment? Jared, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I guess I'm the OU guy. I'm the only one repping that gear today. Um, the
Hey,
oh, okay, my
Troy's
bad,
got
Troy.
it.
Yeah, my bad, Troy. Yeah, I mean, I think Ben Arbuckle's gonna have to get somebody that fits him. I mean, quarterback's the most important position on offense, and so I think that makes sense. I think people are like, I saw people having all kinds of reactions, and I just think it's like you have to just take a step back and realize that Ben Arbuckle needed to decide who he thought was better, and if he thought O'Neal wasn't the best choice, then get somebody that is.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm on board with it. I mean, I think they've got a lot of momentum, but as we keep saying, like a broken record, they're gonna have to win some games this year. I mean, they've got to go out and get a decent record. They don't have to go win the SEC or anything, but if they don't show progress, a lot of these commits aren't gonna matter.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Troy?
I have barely done any research on any of this. It's been Thunder and only Thunder. I saw it and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." He went from like a top 20 quarterback commit to a top 10 quarterback commit. Good job, Arbuckle. Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's going to be fascinating about what happens moving forward with both of them. It'll be revisionist history as we know it goes. If Jaden O'Neal skyrockets and plays great, everyone's going to go, you had him and you let him go. If he's not, it'll be like, we told you so kind of a deal. Um, I would love to know more details about the behind the scenes of it. I think that's the thing that worries me more is I just hope that they were truly being upfront and honest with Jaden O'Neal through the process. And I don't have any information to say that they weren't. Um, but that is a guy that stayed committed with all the changes. He stayed committed through all the losses last year. It was super loyalty, and I hope you just didn't like drag this kid along, you know what I mean? Only to switch over the other way or whatever. There's a lot about Bo Bentley's game I like. I'm not some kind of quarterback guru, so I'm not going to try to speak to it in that light, but we'll see. But I love the momentum that they have and what's going there.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think I think there's going to be a transition of a lot of things. I think you're going to see not like a lot of that per se, but I think you're going to see the focus shift around, especially on the offensive side of the ball, with who they're going after. I think you've already seen that, but you're going to see it more and more in the future classes. So it is what it is, people. I think
yeah,
some people are blowing it out of proportion, I think. But I mean, it is like you said, I do hope that they were honest with them. But that's also the other thing is like we've talked about, like, none of us are going to know. It doesn't matter if you're a beat reporter or us three idiots that are talking on a podcast. Like, nobody knows unless you're in that room on a phone call.
right.
Like there's way more. It always infuriates me when somebody's like, well, clearly this happened. It's like you don't know. Like you're giving a base idea and you're making speculation on no evidence. Like
Right.
there's no way that anybody knows. Even if O'Neill came out and said this is exactly what was said, we don't know. He could be, he's probably ticked off right now.
Yeah.
Like
It'll be
it's going to be an interesting, few months going into football season.
absolutely. We'll be looking for that. We're gonna definitely keep talking Thunder, but we got a draft uh Wednesday night. Is it Wednesday night, Thursday
That's,
night?
yeah, no, it's Wednesday night. It's crazy. That's crazy. Guys, you know what I did the other night?
What?
Actually, last night, for the first time, I got a Dutch oven for Father's Day because I'm
Okay.
kind of been into cooking lately. I made a gumbo and it
Yeah.
was so good. It like cooked and simmered for 3 hours. It was so good, y'all.
Gumbo is wonderful when you do it right. So
Yeah.
that will be good. So that's that. We don't have a lot. We've been really more. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. We've talked about potting over and over. Troy can't, and I just don't feel like attempting to really talk basketball without Troy here to correct me when I'm off because he knows it much better. But all that said, I've been locked in on the NBA and have not really been following recruiting at all like we normally do because I've been locked in on that. So we'll hopefully get a little bit more level like we normally are with things moving forward and start breaking down some of the season ahead. And again, just guessing at what's going to come. But I think it'll be fun to look at some of these rosters that we're going to be going against and how they're changing and what does that look like for OU season, that kind of stuff. And again, draft talk and all the stuff for the Thunder as well. So should be
I'm proud of
busy.
you, Daryl. I'm proud of you. Staying in the moment, not talking about next season or in the future, what we're going to do here and there. I'm proud of you.
Well, look, I
I'm proud.
the only future for me with this team, I told Evan this the other day. By the way, my wife has gone full in. Like last night, she was standing in the kitchen. We had a bunch of our small group over to watch a game, and she was just standing. And like my dad, and I just threw my phone down after dad sent us that message, Jared. And she was like, "What is?" I go, "My dad just mentioned." Goes, "Oh, it looks like you guys found your rhythm and you're on your way." And she's like, "He does not know this team. They can come back in no time." Like it is not like she's just yelling, like so mad that
For
dad's
those
like
that don't
this.
know, that's not like Evan. Like
No,
that's not like your wife at all.
she was full in on this whole thing. But I looked at her and said, look, the majority of this roster is together for a while. They're great. It is all about how they handle their business. That's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to, like future wise. And like things can happen, injuries can happen, but you won it this year and you shut everybody up. You overcame, you made it. You can talk free throw merchant all you want. You can talk whatever all you want. At the end of the day, there's a trophy that's got the Thunder's name on it, and it's from 2025, and we got a parade, and you don't. So I love it. I love everything about it. It's been super, super fun. to go. That's right. So we're rocking it. We're jamming it. And so, anyways, come along and join us again. We'll be hopefully doing this more as the summer goes along and talking some things. And we'll start looking again to be a little more balanced between some OU Sooner football and some Thunder basketball. But we're having a great time. We hope you are too. I'm Daryl. That's Jared. That's Troy. And we will talk to you guys later.
Bye, Baker.